Greetings, friends. Dennis LaRue here, your executive and life coach with LDR. Leaders develop relationships, and that number one relationship is to develop yourself first. And here it is, Sunday night. It is the hashtag steeltoesrequired quote of the week, and this is episode number 74. Hey, Dawn, so glad to see you, my friend. And this week's episode is a powerful one. The quote is actually coming from a very powerful book that many of you that watch us, I know you know, and I know many of you have read. And if you haven't, you must read it. And here it is. Here's the book. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. That's where our quote comes from, but it is not a Dale Carnegie quote. And again, here's the book. For those of you who want to know, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. And the quote actually comes from Charles Schwab. And here's what he said. He said, and the way to develop the best that is in a person, and those of you, if you caught before this and saw my last Facebook post, the question that was asked is, how do you get the most out of your people? How do you get the most out of your people? And our quote tonight from Charles Schwab provides an answer to that question, and here it is. And the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. There is nothing else that kills ambitions of a person as criticism from superiors. I am anxious to praise, but loath to find fault. That's Charles Schwab, as quoted again from How to Win Friends and Influence People from Dale Carnegie. So, how do you get the most out of your people? Through appreciation and encouragement. And we're going to spend our time there. Now, when you read the blog's ready and it's going to be posted. I spend more time on the other portion of this, and that is what kills the ambitions of people, what kills the development of people, and that's the criticism from superiors. So make sure you read the blog tonight or tomorrow. Read the blog, because the blog provides additional information and value to you beyond this. But we're going to spend our time on the positive side of developing people, and that is appreciation and encouragement. So what is appreciation? Hello, Monique. I see you there. Stacy, I see you as well. And I saw Ryan Takau. So glad to see you all tonight. Again, let me read the quote one more time. As you guys are jumping in, I want to make sure you get this quote and where it comes from. I'm going to show the book again. It comes from How to Win Friends and Influence People from Dale Carnegie. And the quote is, we're answering the question, how do you get the most out of your people? And the answer comes from Charles Schwab within this book. And it's, in the way to develop the best that's in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. There is nothing else that kills the ambitions of a person as criticisms from superiors. And Charles Schwab goes on to say, I am anxious to praise, but loath to find fault. So, how do you get the most out of a person? Encouragement and appreciation. So let's take appreciation first. What is appreciation? It's simply this. Here's what Webster says. Webster says appreciation is an expression of admiration, approval, and gratitude. It's also recognition. Appreciation is the expression of admiration, approval, and gratitude, and recognition. So, let me ask you this, leaders. What does this look like? What does appreciation look like? We just heard the definition, but definitions are theory. What does it actually look like? How is it practiced? What does it sound like? Because your definition of appreciation, we all just read the definition, but what that sounds like to you sounds differently to me. It may sound differently to the people that are in your circles, that are your employees, that are your colleagues, that are your clients, that are kids. Parents, it sounds different to kids. Hey, Holly, glad to see you. What does it feel like what does it feel like when you're appreciated? I can tell you right now what it feels like. I call it my spider senses tingling. You might get goosebumps. It feels like you're wearing a warm blanket. And those of you that are up in the north in that cold weather, a warm blanket, a sweater, a sweatshirt, or all of those together, bundled up tightly, is what that feels like. There's warmth to it. You feel loved. You feel like, you know what? Somebody's actually watching what I'm doing. What does that sound like to you? What does that look like? You know, I was in the military. Many of you know that. I served 23 years in the Air Force. And even in the Air Force, we all wore the same uniform. We had different ranks. But you know what? Appreciation sounded different to everybody. There were some people, they wanted to be put in for annual and quarterly awards. They wanted that decoration to be presented publicly in front of everybody. They wanted that giant promotion party to share. That's what appreciation looked like to them. And there were others, if you just came by their desk once in a while and just spoke to them and said, thank you for your effort, that's what appreciation sounded like to them. Every person is different, but every one of us wants to know that we matter. Every one of us wants to know that what we do impacts people, that impacts the organization, impacts the mission. Nobody gets up and says, I'm going to be average, and you know what? I'm going to get up and do something that absolutely doesn't make sense and bores me to tears, and I hate it, and I just want to be, I just don't like what I do. And I want somebody to come to my desk and tell me that what I'm doing doesn't make a difference. No, I can't think of anybody like that. Appreciation. Appreciation. That's exactly right, Monique. Monique is spot on. For some people, it's about the fact that they've been heard. Yes, appreciation is that their voice is heard. How many times have you sat in a meeting and you saw because of your skill set in strategic management or because of your technical skill and competency, the direction the meeting was going and the task to be assigned afterwards, you knew because you've experienced it, were not going to work. And you spoke up in the meeting and you shared your thoughts. And they said, wow, thank you for heading that off. We were on the road to a disaster and you just saved us time, effort, resources, and a lot of headache. People sometimes it's just wanting to be heard. Well, I love that, Monique. Well said. But also, you know, one example for me is I was in Paraguay, South America a couple of years ago, and part of John Maxwell's transformation movement there. Many of you that watch this, some of you were there with me. And I can remember being in a hospital, and the hospital administrator came up to us in a break as we were teaching facilitators on this roundtable method. And I remember, I can still see her to this day, and I know her name. And she came up to me, and she put her hands on my shoulders like this, and she looked me right in the eyes, and I can still see her eyes to this day. And she said to me, she goes, Dennis, you are an answer to my dream. I can still hear her voice. I can see her eyes, and I can remember the tears welling up inside of me. And I can tell you right now, that night when I got back to my hotel room, just kind of reflecting, I bawled my eyes out. Why? Because I was appreciated. Because it was what I was created to do. And I was making a difference. And that moment of gratitude from this person it was music to my soul, not just to my ears, music to my soul. And it was also the second part. Now, how do you get the most out of your people? Hey, Daniel, what's going on, brother? And I appreciate you too. Love what you're doing. Praying for you, my friend, praying for your family. Not only do we get the most out of our people with appreciation, but we get the most out of our people with encouragement. Now, again, I was in the Air Force, basic training. You don't get a whole lot of positive encouragement in basic training, okay? They yell at you a lot, and it's a struggle. But you know what? You learn to find the positive even in those moments. The reason they're yelling at you is because they're teaching you a new way of life. They're teaching you how to be wingmen. They're teaching you to pay attention to detail. And it's a different scenario. But once you get out of basic training and you get to your duty stations, the military, in some cases they do yell at you some more, but then there's others. There is encouragement. There's that wingman concept, as we say in the Air Force, or the buddy system, your battle buddy. Every one of us should have that. You might call them a mentor, you might call them a coach, you might call them an accountability partner, but we all need that. Now, to encourage, sticking to appreciation and giving you the definition. Here's a definition of encouragement. Encouragement is to inspire with courage, spirit of hope, spirit or hope. It's to inspire with courage, spirit, or hope. It's to stimulate, to spur on, to give help. That's encouragement. Man, and we all want encouragement. We all need encouragement. What do those look like to you? What does encouragement look like to you? What does encouragement sound like to you? What does it feel like when you're encouraged? You know, what it feels like to me is it's kind of finding that second wind in that activity you're doing. You're worn out mentally. You might be worn out physically. You might be worn out emotionally, but you get that encouraging word. You get that, come on, just a little further. You can do it. You're doing great. Just one more step. And then bang, the switch flips and you get an extra gear, you get an extra charge of adrenaline, and you move forward. And it's almost as if you weren't tired to begin with. That's what it feels like to me. That's what it sounds like to me. But what does it look like? What does encouragement look like? It's words. It's a pat on the back. It's like Monique said, it's listening. It's listening to others. It's listening to ideas from others, not just because you outrank them, not because you're higher up in the chain, not just because you're the project manager and the best of the technicians. It's because their idea has merit, and you let the best idea win. Or you take the nuggets from that idea to make the best idea the best idea. And that's encouraging. That shows value. It shows that that person is valued. Now, what happens when we encourage somebody and we appreciate them? The results from those people will astonish you. And if you do that with every person in your organization, if you do that with every person on your project, if you do that with your clients, the results will astonish you, because encouragement and appreciation are transformational. They are transformational, touching the heart and soul of people. But when we criticize others, instead of planting seeds of transformation, we plant weeds. And we instead of a fertile ground to grow fruit, we plant poison into the soul. We plant poison into the mind. And we create a prison of weeds and thorns that for some take decades to get out of. So, and when we plant those seeds also, instead of getting the most out of people, instead of getting the best out of people, at best, you're going to get average or worse from that person. Think about it. Think about it in your life. When somebody has criticized you, and that was their only mode of trying to get you to do what it is that you were supposed to do, how hard was it for you to do what you were supposed to do and to do it with excellence? It's difficult. I can say that for me personally. It's very difficult. As a matter of fact, that type of motivation for me has never worked. I can honestly say it has never worked for me. It never worked on me. As a matter of fact, it wears you down and beats you up. I can remember a season in my life where I was ready to get out of the military very early because of that very style of leadership. I was ready to make a career decision over 120 days of having to deal with that. It's very impactful. That's the kind of impact criticism has. And that was on an adult. Now imagine, for those of you who are teachers, how much criticism impacts a child. Think about that. Read more about that topic in my blog. It'll be out shortly. But for now, let's get back on the positive. Appreciation, encouragement. There it is, my friends. There it is. The way to develop the best that is in a person, according to Charles Schwab, and I agree with him, is by appreciation and encouragement. And that's why I do this every week. That's why I do Steel Toes. That's why you see me with LaRue on the street, the blogs and everything else. I do it to encourage, and because I appreciate you. I want to inspire you. I want you to reach that next level in your life, to move forward, to spur you on, to be a help, to bring in that fighting spirit, to create the fires of hope within you so that you move forward and you kick down those doors with your steel toes and you take what's yours and you make that life of yours the life that you want. That you don't recognize barriers, that you climb those obstacles, and that you soar the heights that you were created to soar. You were not made to be ordinary, you were made to be extraordinary. Yeah, that's cliche, but it's true. You're unique, you are unique, and you have a unique mission and calling, and it is for you to move forward. And my calling is to be that encourager and that inspirer for you to do that. So go get it. Go get it. And as we wrap this up, this Steel Toes, we always close with one of my favorites, the blessing. I pray the blessing of bread that you know no hunger. I pray the blessing of salt, that your life would be flavorful and that you would add flavor into other people's lives. And I pray the blessing of wine, that joy and prosperity would be yours and that the love of God would be your portion this day and forevermore. Friends, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me here on number 74 of hashtag Steel Toes Required Quote of the Week. Pray this added value to you. I pray this encouraged, inspired you. And let me know in the comments below. If this added value to you, let me know that. I would love to hear from you, how this encouraged you. Because you know what? We're all human. We want to know that what we do adds value. We also want to know that we're appreciated. And we need that encouragement. Just like I'm no different than anybody else. If you would, do that in the comments below. I appreciate you, and I hope you're encouraged. Take care. We'll see you next week. And also, we'll see you on the street with LaRue on the street. If you're a faithful watcher of those, stay tuned here on Facebook. We'll be doing some LaRue on the street as well this week. All right. Take care, friends. Have a great rest of your evening, and have a great and amazing week. The blog will be posted here shortly. All right. Take care, friends. Bye for now.